Hi. Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be back. Okay, so let's get started, shall we? Okay, now you guys should be able to see what I have on my screen right now. Just going to switch to my regular application. So where is it? Yep, here we go. Okay, so last time we finished talking about the report writing. And so today we begin our new lessons, and that is about essay writing. Okay, so from chapter 4 all the way to chapter 5, the focus will be on task 2. Okay. All right. So first of all, let us talk about what exactly is an argument essay. Okay. So let me just write this down here. Argument essay. Argument essay. So what exactly is argument essay? Okay. So in order to understand what argument essays is, we first need to understand what argument means. Okay. So argument consists of 3 things. Okay. Argument consists of a claim plus justification plus a conclusion. Okay, so this is argument. It's just a process of justifying a claim. So a claim, what is a claim? A claim is kind of like something that you want to eat. Let's say it's an egg. Okay, so you want to have an egg for breakfast. What do you have to do? You have to heat it up, right? Because egg is raw. So you need to heat it up before you eat it. So how are you going to heat it up? You can fry it with some oil or with some butter. You can bake it. You can grill it. You can, what else can you do? You can poach it. Okay. So there are many different methods for you to heat up the raw eggs. Okay, so let's boil it. Okay. Okay. So if you boil the eggs, in the end, you're going to get the same eggs. The only difference is that it is cooked, right? You apply heat to it, so it's cooked. The eggs, before you boil it, is raw. So this is pretty much like claim and conclusion. So basically, they are the same thing. The only difference is that conclusion is more credible than claim. Okay, so claim is just a statement. Okay, could be your opinion, which is not credible. Okay, so anyone can make claims. I can make claims. You can make claims. Okay, it's understandable, but it's not credible. In other words, nobody is just going to accept your claim unless you explain it well enough. Okay, just like eggs. Okay, you want to eat eggs, you can, but you have to heat it up. Okay, you have to kill all the germs and bacteria before you eat it. So that's argument in a nutshell. Okay, it's a process of justifying a claim. Now, let's give us an example of a simple argument. So if you want to make an argument about maybe intelligence, okay, so I'm going to assert a claim, okay? So let's say my claim is Joe Joe is just a name of someone. Okay, Joe is a smart person. Okay, so I have just made a claim. Joe is a smart person. So you guys know what it means. You probably don't know who Joe is, and neither do I, but you can clearly understand the sentence. But do you believe it? Okay, that's another question, right? Do you believe if Joe is a smart person just because I said? No, right? Okay, you need more than that. You need some justification. So I have to give you reasons why you should believe that Joe is a smart person. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to try to convince you. Okay. What could be my strategy? Okay, I could say some things like, Joe is a smart person. Joe, um, Joe was a grade A or a top student. Um, let's call him a top student. Joe was a top student in my class. Okay, so if I try to convince you that to accept that Joe is a smart person by saying that he was a top student in my class, would you believe me? Not really, right? Some people might believe me. Those people who believe me might have been my friends, my classmates. Okay, so if you were my classmates, then you would understand how difficult it is to make it through to the end. Joe was able to make it through the end with a good grade. So for that reason, he's a smart person. But if you were not my friends back in the old days, you know, in high school or in college, then you are not going to be inclined to accept this claim, right? You might have questions. You might have your doubts. For example, okay, what class was it? Right? Okay, what school was it? Was the class easy or was the class difficult? Yeah? Okay, so it raised a lot of questions for some people who did not um, share the same experience with me. So the majority of the people who don't know me, will not accept this claim just because I say that Joe was a top student. So I need something um, that is much stronger um, than this. So if I want to convince people around the world, maybe strangers, to accept that Joe was a smart person, I need to refer to some um, well-established theory or principle. Okay, since my claim is about intelligence, then I need to refer to some principles that are related to intelligence, like IQ, for example. Okay, so if you know anything about IQ, it says that a person with an IQ of above 100 is a smart person. Okay? Okay, so a person with an IQ of above 100, maybe 110, maybe 100 is too low. 110. Of above 110 is smart. Okay. Now, so I have already put forward a principle that I think everyone's accept. Okay, because this is not from me. Okay, it is a fact. Okay, it is a test. Okay, so the next thing I have to do is to provide you with some evidence, just in case some of you may not be familiar with IQ, right? So I need to provide you with some example. Okay, so I'm gonna think of a person. Let me think, a famous person with IQ above 110. Uh, how about Albert Einstein? Well, Albert Einstein is too smart, right? His IQ, I think, is between 160. Okay, well, anyway, I want to say a person with an IQ is considered smart. Okay. A good example is Albert Einstein. Okay? A good example is Albert Einstein, whose IQ was 160. Okay. A good example is Albert Einstein, whose IQ was 160. Okay, so these two statements serve as principle and evidence. Okay, so this is something that most people already believe. The next thing I have to do is I have to relate Joe, who is the subject of my claim, to this theory, right? So what I have to say is Joe took an IQ test and he scored 150. Okay, so based on the IQ theory, it suggests that a person with an IQ of above 110 is smart. Okay, and Joe has an IQ of above, sorry, and Joe has an IQ of 150. So by an IQ standard, we can conclude that Joe is a smart person. Okay, that's it. Right. Now, what about essay? So now you have a good grasp of what argument means. Now let's talk about an essay. So an essay is just a style of writing, okay, that breaks your content into three sections: introduction, body, and conclusion. Okay. So what is introduction? So introduction is a paragraph that give you an overview of what the rest will be about. Body paragraph is a section where a claim that is present in the introduction is develop, and justify. And conclusions serve as a memory refreshing. Okay, so everything you have already stated in the body section, if those points are related to the claim, they will be restated again in conclusion, but without any more example or any further explanation. So that's basically what essay is. Now, if you call this an argument essay, so basically you have to add claim and justification and conclusion into all these three sections. So an introduction for an argument essay will consist of course, a claim, okay? But it also include statement, of problem, okay? It will also include statement of problem. It will also include different viewpoints. And also, yeah, a claim, statement of problem, different viewpoint, the subject of debate. Okay, so that's what it will include. So 4 things, but you can arrange them in any order. Okay, it doesn't have to follow this order. In most cases, it will be a lot easier for you to begin with statement of problem. Okay. So statement of problems will take we'll take the first position. Statement of problem. Okay, followed by different viewpoint. I'm sorry, subject of debate should come first. Subject of debate. Different viewpoint. And last is the claim. But they prefer to call it thesis statement. Right. So that's the introduction for you. Now, what about body paragraph? So the body paragraph for an argument essay will contain a topic sentence, some points, plus supporting evidence. Right. And last but not least, conclusion paragraph. So when you write conclusion, like I said earlier, you will have to restate all those points, right? All those points that are relevant. Restated. Relevant points. Okay, you will have reset relevant points, and you will also have confirmation. of thesis. Okay, so basically these are the things you have to do to write conclusion. All right, so that's it. Now, let's take a look at a model answer, okay? So that we will see a better picture of the structure of an argument essay. Right. Okay, so let us read this a little bit. We say, keeping animals, okay, I'm reading the questions here, okay? Keeping animals in captivity is cruel, and there's no reason for zoo to exist. Give reasons for your answer and include hang on a second, okay? Just give me 1 second. All right. Okay, so it says keeping animals in captivity is cruel, and there is no reason for zoo to exist. Do you agree or disagree with this opinion? So let's analyze the statement. So it tells you, it gives you 2 sentences. So it's kind of like a cause and effect, okay? So somebody feel that keeping animals in captivity is bad, is cruel, and for that reasons, he doesn't want the zoos to exist anymore. Okay, so if you want to agree with him, then that means you have to accept the fact that zoos should no longer exist, right? You may not need to agree with the first statement, okay? So that means you might have another reason why the zoo should not exist, right? You don't think keeping animals in captivity is cruel, or you probably don't agree with this, but you may have your own reasons to feel that zoo should not exist. So that means you partially agree. But if you totally agree, then that means you agree with everything here. You believe that keeping animals in captivity is cruel, and you also believe that the zoo should no longer exist. Okay. Now, let's have a look at the introduction. So it says, opinions are divided as to whether the zoos are supposed to continue operating. So what excuse me. So what does the statement tell you? Okay, So this statement tells you that so this statement basically gives you a subject of debate. Okay, so it tells you that today people are arguing about the existence of the zoo. That's what it tells you. Okay, it gives you the subject of debate. Okay, and then it says some people take the view the zoo prove beneficial to the animals, but others believe that they are suffering. All right. Okay, so these two statements um, uh, serve to tell you different opinions or different point of views. Okay, so we have a topic of discussion about the existence of the zoo. Now, on the one hand, we have people who who, who actually are the proponents of the zoo, and they believe that zoos are beneficial. But then again, um, there are other dissenters, right? There are people who don't like the idea of having a zoo because they think animals are not doing well; they're suffering. Okay, so these are two sides of the argument. Okay, but the statement that matters the most is your opinion, and that is the final sentence in this paragraph. So it says, "In my opinion, despite certain drawbacks, there are vital benefits of the zoos to animals." Okay, so this last statement here is your opinion. Okay, so the examiners wants to know your opinion. Okay, now if you go back to the question, it's asked if you agree or disagree. But how come you didn't say this guy here? How come he didn't say whether he agree or disagree? Right? You don't see any word that says he agree or disagrees, right? That's right. So when you answer the questions, you don't really use the term agree or the term disagree. Instead, you write your own opinion, right? In an affirmative sentence, right? In a statement. Okay. And when somebody read the statement, they should be able to they should be able to identify your position. Okay. Like for example, when you read this last statement, it says, despite certain drawbacks, so that means this writer is aware of the drawbacks, right? There are vital benefits of the zoo. So the fact that he used the word despite means that he actually put more emphasis on the vital benefits of the zoo while acknowledging some drawbacks, right? You understand? So this guy put more emphasis on the benefits. So what does that mean? That means he doesn't really think that the zoo should go away, okay? Because even though the zoo has its own negative aspects, it still has some very, very important benefits. So clearly, this person does not agree with the given statement. Right. Okay. Next, we're going to be looking at the body section. So it says here, on the one hand, those who oppose the existence of the zoos may put forward two main reasons. So here is a topic sentence. What does the topic sentence tell you? It tells you that this paragraph is about two reasons why some people want to shut down the zoos. Okay? So if you want to shut down the zoo, would you be talking about the positive aspects of the zoo? No. You're going to be talking about the disadvantages of the zoo. One of which is that animals are not guilty, and that is the first reason. Okay? So this person says that people who want the zoos to be shut down probably think that animals didn't do anything wrong, and animals are not guilty. So the sentence "animals are not guilty" serve as the first point. All right, it's the first point or the first reason, and this needs to be elaborated. It needs to be further explained. In the human world, people have to serve a sentence behind bars when they commit offense. Okay, so that means if you compare to humans, when humans commit crimes, okay, when they do something illegal, when they break the law, what could happen to them is that they could be sent to jail, right? They could be in prison. They could serve years of sentence. This is one way to keep criminals from causing any further troubles. That's true, okay? That's the reason why we put bad people in jail, so that they can no longer cause problems to innocent civilians. Animals, on the contrary, live in the forest and are not likely to ever be any menace to humans. So animals never cause humans any issues, right? They live in the forest, in the wild, in the wilderness, okay? And they have never robbed you. They don't kill you unless you try to harm them, okay? Therefore, the freedom to roam should not be limited. So what this writer is trying to tell you is that when humans commit crimes or when they break the law, okay, they get to be punished. But animals, they don't deserve to be punished. Why? Because they never break any law. They never cause you any trouble. Right. To make matters worse, okay, so these expressions tells you that the first reason has ended, and we're about to begin exploring the next reasons. So many animals are at risk. That's the second reason. Animals are at risk. So let's see some explanation. The main source of the zoo's income is from the visitors, and it may not be very steady, especially during bad economic situations. Okay, so the income, right? The income or the money. The zoos make money by welcoming visitors. Visitors bring the zoos money. Okay, but the zoo's ability to make money also depends on various factors like economic situations, right? Okay, so during the periods where the economy isn't good, when they have high inflation, all right, or when we have a pandemic, people cannot leave their home, so no one's going to the zoo, and that's when the zoos are not making money, right? Okay, so the ability to make money depends on the situations of the economy. And for such a reason, zoos in many countries are not earning enough money to care for the animals. The food they use to feed the bees may be contaminated or of poor quality. Okay, so when they don't have money, they cannot feed the animals. Or even if they can feed animals, the food that they use to feed animals um, may not be of good quality. It may contain some chemicals that are harmful to the animals. The cage where they keep animals may not be sanitary. So basically, they don't have money to hire cleaners to make sure that the animals are living in a good conditions. Eventually, the animals can contract diseases and consequently die. And that's what happened to the animals in the end. They can be infected, okay, and if their infection doesn't get cured, soon enough, they can lose their life. Okay. So that's what the first paragraph tells you. So this first paragraph, why does it start with the negative aspects of the zoo? Okay. Why doesn't he just jump into the vital benefits? Well, because the body section is the purpose of having a body paragraph is to make everything in the thesis statement clear. So when you go back to the thesis statement and when you read the spices and drawbacks, you want to know what those drawbacks are, right? Okay, and that's the reason why he start this paragraph talking about the two disadvantages of the zoo. Okay, because he needs to make this clear, right? The readers needs to know what those drawbacks are. Okay. However, if you move on to the next paragraph, okay, he's going to try to counter all those negative aspects by saying that on the other hand, zoos are not entirely evil. Okay, so this statement tells you that, hey, well, while it's true that the zoos have its own, shortcomings, it is not entirely bad, right? It has some benefits. So we're going to look at the second half of this statement, the vital benefits. First of all, they prevent some species from extinction. So that's the first vital benefit, right? It prevents some species from extinction. Natural undomesticated state may not be the best place for some animals as they can be harmed, poached, or even killed. Okay, so natural undomesticated state is referring to a forest. Okay, and the forest or the wild is not the best place because animals are not safe there. They can be harmed and they can be poached. Poached means hunted, and they can be killed. The zoos can assure them safety and propagate the bloodline. So if the animals are living by themselves in the wild, right, there's no guards, there's no tall buildings to keep them safe from all those hunters. But if they live in the zoo, there's security measures, there's guards, there's everything to keep them safe. Not only keeping them safe, but also help them to breed. Okay, helps them to propagate the bloodlines, and helps them to breed. Okay? Help them to reproduce. On top of everything, the zoos offer students an opportunity to study and learn to appreciate the value of wildlife. Okay, so this is the next important thing about the zoo. It gives young people an opportunity to come over, to learn, to appreciate the animals. It would be impossible for children to go as far as the jungle to observe animals' behaviors. However, the zoos make it possible for children to be at a close range to the wildlife and to form a bond with them. Okay, so imagine this. You want to instill some positivity of the zoos to young people. You need to actually let them develop a sense of love and care for the animals, but you can't just achieve that by having them watch some, documentary on YouTube, right? They need to be able to have some emotional connection with the animal. So they need to be able to touch. They need to be able to see in a close range, right? Okay. So how would you achieve that? You cannot just take your kids to the jungle because it's too dangerous, and you probably don't know what's how to handle all those wild animals anyway. Okay, but if you take the kids to the zoo, right? The animals at the zoo, they have been tamed. Okay, they have been trained. and they're personnel who know what to do. So that's a better place for you to take your kids to learn how animals live and learn, why it is so important to conserve them, keep them safe. Okay, so that when they grow up, they will love animals and will want to save them. All right. Okay, so this paragraph, you can see that these two paragraphs sort of contradict each other. Okay, and the third paragraph here, it serves to sort of overpower the second paragraph. The second paragraph is about the disadvantages of the zoo. And since this writer positioned the benefits after negativity by the positivity. Okay. Now, let's read the final paragraph to recapitulate. It may be true that captivity is an unfair way to treat animals, right? And they may not live a healthy life. So that's basically it. So these two statements, it basically restate all those 2 points that have already been mentioned in the second paragraph. If you look at the second paragraph, right, you will see if you look at the second paragraph, you see that the first disadvantage is about what? Is animals are not guilty. And the second point is many animals are at risk. Okay, so those two sentences are just paraphrased and put in the conclusion paragraph. Okay, so basically it restates the same points again. Okay, while it's true that captivity is an unfair way to treat animals, and they may not live a healthy life, but be that as it may, without the help from the zoo, the animals stand a risk of being harmed. Okay, so we are looking at the statement that capture all the relevant points from the third paragraph. So the third paragraph is emphasizing the benefits. Okay, so we restated these benefits again. All right, so basically this is kind of like writing the body paragraph all over again, except that you do not include any example or explanation because that's not necessary. Okay, right. Moreover, the zoos play a significant role of educating children to have the right attitude towards animals. Okay, so after you have restated all the relevant points, the last thing you have to do is what? Confirm the thesis. So let's take a look again at the thesis statement. It says, despite certain drawbacks, there are vital benefits of the zoos to animals. So by confirming the thesis, you have to write a sentence that say the exact same thing. Okay. So the previous thesis statement shows that zoos are still very important because they have benefits. And the statement here says that I'm not convinced that the zoo should be closed down. So they are aligned, right? Because zoo have so much benefits, I don't think that the zoo should be closed down. Okay, that's a confirmation of the thesis. Okay, so I hope to understand how this essay tax to work. So it basically follow this guideline. All right, argument essay. Okay, so introduction, you will have 4 things. You have statement of problem, subject of debate, different viewpoints, and claim. Okay, but in our particular example, we don't have statement of problem, but that's okay. You only need statement of problem when you see one. Okay, if you don't see a real problem, then you can just jump right to subject of debate. Okay, all right. So let's take a short break, and then we will come back and talk more about some exercise on the next page. โอเคครับกลับมาคุยกันต่อ alright let's get back to our lesson so let's have a look at this exercise here it says write one reasons to explain why you want or why you do not want to stop the operation of the zoo okay all right so let's give us 3 minutes to think about reasons why you want the zoos to still be there and probably one reasons why you don't want maybe you can just take a position okay if you want the zoos to be there then give me one reason or if you don't want the zoos to be there give me one reason okay let's give you guys 3 minutes to think about it. Okay so can you think of any reasons to support your position all right how about this okay I'm going to just give you more reasons why the zoo should exist okay so previously on our argument we say that um, the zoos can sort of um, conserve and protect endangered species, right? Okay, so basically zoos, we say that zoos plays a critical role in conserving endangered species. And also, the second point is about education and awareness. So we basically say that zoos educate the public about wildlife, biodiversity, and the importance of conservation, right? Okay, so I think the third reason could be about, think, economic benefits and community engagement. So I think that, okay, the zoo promotes economic benefits. The zoos promote economic benefits. How does it do that? Well, because they create jobs and attract tourism. Right. Um, which contribute to the local economy. Okay, that would be the third reason or the third advantage of having a zoo. Okay, so next we are going to be looking at this next exercise. To ask you to replace the underlying words with the new vocabulary you have just learned. Okay, so if you go back to the previous page, okay, and we try to look for the equivalent expression for have a big chance. Okay. So the equivalent expressions for having a big chance could be, okay, I found one. Likely, right? Are likely to. Are likely to. That's one. Right. What else? Maybe from the last paragraph, you'd say something like stand at great risk of. Okay. So I can say here, historical buildings are likely to get damaged. Okay, so I'm replacing having a big chance by are likely to. Next, a person who breaks the law can be dangerous to the society. Okay, again, if you go back to the previous page, equivalent expressions to breaking the law could be here, commit offense. Okay, that's the same as saying break the law. Okay, can be harmful, right? Can be dangerous to society. Okay? The similar expression is be a menace to humans. So I can rewrite the sentence by saying that a person who commits offense can be a menace to society. Right. Okay, next. One reasons arranged marriage is chosen is to keep the name of the family. Right. So this is, we're looking for the same expressions. That means keep the name of the family. So on the previous page, we have propagate the bloodline. That's the equivalent expression. So I can say one reason arranged marriage is chosen is to propagate the bloodline. Okay. Next, a person with a constant diet of fast food has a chance to get cancer. have a chance to get cancer. Again, if you look at the previous page, we could use stand a risk. So I can say here that a person with a constant diet of fast food stand a risk of getting cancer. Right, next. Tourism take the most damage during the time the economy is not good. Right. Again, from the last page, I mean from the previous page, this similar expression could be bad economic situation. So tourism takes the most damage during bad economic situation. Okay, last one. The most important thing is that the government and individuals take joint responsibility to overcome the crisis. So, which expression do you think is equivalent to the most important thing? So you can say on top of everything here, right? What is it? Here, on top of everything. So I can say on top of everything. The government and individuals take joint responsibility to overcome the crisis. All right. Okay, so that's it. Let's move on to the next page. Okay, so now we're going to be looking at problems and solutions. So problem and solution is slightly different from argument essay in that you don't really have to give your opinion. Okay, so basically you have to do what they ask you to do. Most of the time, problem solution will ask you to find the causes and or the effects of the problem, and then they will ask you to find some methods to prevent this problem from happening, or some method to alleviate the impacts of the problems. Okay, so let's have a look at the question. Today, teenagers are obsessed with activities in computer, such as chatting, playing computer games. What are some of the problems and effects associated with obsessive use of computer, and what solutions can you suggest? All right, so it gives you the situation, which seems to be a problematic one. So teenagers spend too much time. Obsessed means they spend too much time on computer. Okay. Right. And because of that, there are some negative effects that it's not given to you. So you have to think about some negative impacts of, obsession with computer, and how would you deal with, you know, how would you prevent young people from becoming too obsessed or becoming addicted to computer? Okay, so let's read the introduction paragraph. It says, today people are growing concerned about the fact that teenagers are spending too much time with computers. They are worried so because excessive use of computer is believed to adversely affect youngsters in several aspects. Okay, so first off, we have the first sentence, and that's give us that's the statement of problem. Okay, so it tells you the ongoing situation. In this case, the ongoing situation is that young people are spending too much time on computers. Okay, and the next statement is trying to raise awareness of these problems. Why do we care about this ongoing situation? It is because spending too much time on computer can bring about some adverse effects on youngsters. And this essay will examine the problems and the consequences owing to the obsessive use of computer, together with a way to resolve the issues. Okay, so what this what we have to do, okay, or according to this statement, okay, the following sections will shed some light upon the consequences or the negative impacts of obsessive using of computer, and how these problems can be prevented. Okay. So let's read the next paragraph. It says, it is undeniable that computer has brought such a revolution into many industries and individuals, taking into account its faster processing, huge capacity, and instant information access. Okay. So what does this sentence tell you? It doesn't tell you anything about the consequences. So this kind of statement is known as a digression. It doesn't serve as a topic sentence, because this paragraph will not be about, why or how computers sort of revolutionize your life. It's not about that. Okay, so this statement doesn't have to be there, to be honest. Okay, you can start with you can begin this paragraph just with the next one. Obsessive using of computer can trigger negative feedback. This is actually the topic sentence. This is what this entire paragraph will be about. Okay, so negative result, particularly to young people. The most immediate problem is social. The adolescents who do not spend time with real friends will have difficulty with face-to-face interpersonal communication and may not be able to get along well with friends at schools, causing further social harm. To adolescents who do not spend time with their real friends, they have difficulty with face-to-face interpersonal communication and may not be able to get along well with friends at school, causing further social harm. Okay, so So this statement tells us about the first negative impact. So it tells us that young people who don't talk to their friends, who spend their entire time in front of the screen, they will have difficulty with face-to-face communication. So they will, they might feel awkward having to speak to their friends in real life. Okay, and for that matter, they might not be able to get along well with their friend at school, and that will lead to other social issues. Another issue associated with excessive use of computer is health risk. So that's the next in line. Okay, so by spending too much time on computer, they will develop some health problems. For example, prolonged exposure to the radiation can lead to impaired vision. So that's right. The radiation from the screen can hurt your eyes. It can impair your vision. It can cause myopia, for example. Using mouse and keyboard for many hours bring about repetitive stress injuries. Right. If you use too much keyboard, right? You might have repetitive stress injuries, such as back problems. And this will eventually lead to overall poor physical condition. So this paragraph tells you all the dark sides of obsession with computers. So one half of the this statement has already been developed. Now let's move on to the next half. In order to prevent these problems from happening to your children, it is suggested that there should be one computer per household, accessible in an open area of the house. Okay, so that's one method to prevent this from happening. So one computer per household, and it should be in a spot where anyone can have access to. Okay, so why is this effective? Because this will allow parents, right, to monitor their children's activities on computers. An alternative would be to install software to keep them from visiting inappropriate website. This is actually inappropriate, okay? Not appropriate, inappropriate websites. Okay, so that's the next alternative. So in case, the young people, they might come across inappropriate websites, like adult websites, like pornography by accident, and then they become addicted to it. So what the parents can do, they can install a guardian software, and the guardian software will do the job of parenting, by blocking the access to pornographic websites. So there are countless websites out there that contain games and adult materials, all of which have the potential to cause addiction to young people. Right. Okay, so we have seen some negative aspects, and we have seen some methods to prevent addiction. So we have successfully developed our thesis. The last thing to do would be to write a good conclusion. So overall, it is clear that excessive use of computer can take a toll. So take a toll means can have negative impact on teenagers' social life and health. So therefore, the parents have to take it very seriously to make sure that the children are not falling victim to this technological advancement by either having a single computer in a house or using software to keep the children off addictive content. So you notice that this last paragraph does not contain any new information. It basically states the same thing, okay, but in different ways. Like the first statement that says take a toll on teenagers' social life and health. So we have said that before. We said that in the second paragraph that obsessive use of computer, right? It can it can cause difficulty face-to-face communication for that social life issue, right? And then when it says another issue associated with excessive computer use is health risk. So this talks about some health problems that are caused by excessive computer use. Okay? This are not new. Okay, and when we say parents have to make sure that students are not falling victim by having a single computer. Okay, we have said that before. We say there should be one computer per household accessible in an open area of the house. And when we say using software, this is exactly what the third paragraph say. On the third line, when it says an alternative would be to install software to keep them from visiting inappropriate websites. Okay, so that's it. All right, moving on to the exercise. Write another harmful effect of playing too much computer. So let's take 3 minutes to try to come up with some idea about a harmful effect of playing too much computer. Okay. apart from what you have seen on the previous page, okay, so the previous page, some of the harmful effects are what? Difficulty with face-to-face communication, health issue. Okay. What else could be another harmful effect? How about increased risk of obesity? I think this is another harmful effect. But that is more health related, right? Okay, so let's think about some other effects, maybe cognitive and behavioral effects. How about obsessive computer use, right? Obsessive computer use can cause sleep disturbances. Okay, can cause sleep disturbances. And why does this happen? How does this happen? Because yeah, let's make this more broad. Okay, how about this? Obsessive computer use can cause cognitive and behavioral effects. So how? This is because the excessive screen time can disrupt sleep pattern. Due to exposure to blue light, right? So that's um, some cognitive um, effects. What else? No, this doesn't sound like a reason. Sounds more like an example. So let me just use, for example, here. So this is an example of the cognitive and behavioral effects. For example, right. In addition to that, in addition to that, constant gaming multitasking, can decrease the ability to focus. On task requiring sustained attention. Right. Okay, so basically, if a young person is spending too much time on computer, he will have a disrupted sleep pattern because of the exposure to the blue light from the screen, and also he will have a shorter attention span, right? Okay, because he has to be focusing on so many things at the same time. Right. Now let's look at some vocabulary exercise. So same deal, all right? We have to replace the underlined words with new vocabulary that you have just learned. Okay, so the first statement, many young adults have shown an early sign of nicotine addiction. So if you look at the previous page, let's see what else means many young people. So we could use words like adolescents. Okay. So I can say many adolescents have shown an early sign of nicotine addiction. Right. Next, the sewage water discharged from factories can have, I think this is a typo, can have a bad result for the environment. Okay. So previously we used the word adolescence. What else would mean have a bad result? I think we can say adversely affect. Okay, we can say we can use adversely affect. So we can rewrite this as the sewage water discharged from factories can adversely affect. Because adversely affect, the word affect is a VT, it takes the right object. The environment. Okay. Next, online articles are better than magazines because of the variety of subjects and the fact that they are free. So what else means because of? If you look at the previous page, it looks like you can use this word owing to. But where is owing to? I think it's in the can't find owing to, but I know it's there. Where is it? Okay, let's start from the first paragraph. Growing concerns. owing to, here we go. On the third line. So we can rewrite it as online articles are better than magazine owing to the variety of subjects and the fact they are free. All right. Last one, global warming has such catastrophic results for many countries, and developing countries will suffer the most. So I know that on the previous page, we could use take the most damage. So we can write it as global warming as such catastrophic result for many countries, and developing countries will take the most damage. Number 5, a person who smokes constantly would not be able to live without it. So we can write it as a person who smokes constantly will become addicted to it. Okay, that's it. All right. Now here's the last model answer for advantage and disadvantages essay. Let's have a look at it. Okay, so the question is about tasting. It says tasting is entail. Entails mean exist, okay, in most educational systems today. It is clear that whether the benefits of tasting outweigh, it is unclear whether the benefit of tasting outweigh its drawbacks. What do you think? All right. So, um, so basically, they want you to go and find out the benefit of tasting and the drawback of tasting, and say whether the benefits are more or greater than the drawbacks. And then in the end, you might have to make a decision whether tasting is still, necessary in the education system or not. So let's read the first paragraph, the introduction paragraph here. In modern society, education is vital to success in all areas of life. It is widely acknowledged that institutions need to check that the students have learned what they need to know. However, critics of tasting claim that too much importance is placed on examinations. This analysis will examine both sides of the complex debate related to education and the value of the test. All right. So if you think about it, this introduction is so much similar to the previous example. Okay. So this is a kind of discussion essay. Since it doesn't really want us to express any opinion, we don't have to say what we think. at the end of the introduction. So if you look at the thesis statement, it just says that this analysis will examine both sides of the complex debate. So it basically gives you an outline of what it's going to do. Okay, so this is very similar to the previous example. If you go and take a look, it say this essay will examine. Okay, so it will examine problems and a way to resolve the issue. So it's just give you an announcement. It's just give you an outline of what it's going to do. There's no opinions given here. Let's check out the next paragraph. It says, on the one hand, tasting has numerous positive aspects for both institutions and students involved. Okay, so this is a very clear topic sentence. That's tell us that this paragraph will focus on the benefits of tasting. One clear benefit for the school system is that tasting delivers an easy way to check the knowledge which learners have acquired during their studies. Okay, so that's the first benefit. It is used to test the knowledge of the learners. Right. When institutions have large number of students, they need efficient and easy ways to evaluate the performance of both the teachers and the students. True. Right? From the perspective of the students, tasting provides a way for them to show their knowledge and give them results that can demonstrate the level to institutions or potential employers. Okay, so that is the second benefit of the testing, but this is the positive impact on students. So previously we talked about the benefits for institutions. Now we talk about the benefit of tasting to the students. Okay, so the students can use their grades, right? So after they have taken the test, they will receive the grades, and they can present the grades to their potential employers. Okay, which can help the employers to decide better whether they should offer a job to this particular student or not. The sentence recognizes arguments of examining students, but prefer to focus on the drawbacks. Okay, now we are moving on to the paragraph that will contradict the benefits. They claim that a disadvantage of concentrating on tasting is that constant exams limit the desire of students to explore the subjects they're studying. Okay, so they're telling us that one disadvantage of too much tasting is that it will stop students from wanting to learn more about the subjects. Why? This is because students only concentrate on learning the aspects of the subject, which is contained in the test, because they only focus on how to do well on exams, right? They don't need to understand the subject materials. They just need to know, all the tips and tricks, all the keywords and everything to do well on the test. So the focus is actually on the test, not on the knowledge itself. This is because students only concentrate on. Okay, another possible negative aspect of tasting could be that it stops learning from being fun. This is due to the fact that young people simply feel that they have to learn to pass exams rather than because they want to know more. Yep. Okay. So it's not fun when you have a test, right? Because when you have a test, you feel that you have to work harder than usual not to fail. Okay, so the situation become very tense. Okay, and you might stress yourself out, and that is not fun. Right. This is due to the fact that young people seem to feel that they have to learn to pass exam rather than because they want to know more. Furthermore, teachers often complain that they have to spend too much time preparing children for exams instead of allowing them to develop their creativity. Okay, so the last statement is about the drawbacks for teachers. So teachers also complain. Okay, it's not just students who complain. So the first 2 points are complaint from the students, right? Okay, they say as a students, tasting stop them from wanting to know more about the subject, and tasting stop, learning from being fun. Okay, but the last negative aspect of tasting is that it doesn't allow teachers um, to teach the young people to develop creativity. Rather, teachers pretty much play the role of a tutor, because they have to prepare students for exams. So everything is about exam, exam, exam. It's not really about being able to apply the knowledge into practice. Okay. Okay. Here comes the final paragraph. All in all, tasting students' knowledge is essential to keep track of the progress of learners. Okay, and decide who knows enough. On a second. Okay, so all in all, testing students' knowledge is essential to keep track of the progress of learners and decide who knows enough to do specific jobs, right? So those are the positive aspects of doing the test. However, schools should not allow testing to make learning too serious, and they should teach students the enjoyment of exploring subjects and developing their own unique creativity. Okay, so instead of restating all the negative aspects of tasting, this writer decided to offer some advice so that all those negative um, effects of tastings do not um, affect you. Okay, so that's all about this advantage and disadvantage essay. All right. Next, we are going to look at some harmful effects of playing computer too much. Okay, so why don't you take 3 minutes, okay, to think about another harmful. Oh, wait a minute. This is not supposed to be about computer. Okay, so maybe it's just a typo. Okay, doesn't matter. Let's move on to the next exercise then. Okay, replace the underlying words with the new vocabulary you have just learned. Okay, so I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. Okay, I want you to do this by yourself. So um, what you have to do is you have to, each time when you see an underlying word, okay, you have to look back at the previous um, model answer and look for the equivalent expression. Okay, and then you come back here and rewrite the sentence with the new expression you found from the previous page. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so um, the first sentence is the knowledge that students have gained in college does not always translate to the real world, right? So instead of gain, what other words can you use? So on the previous page, you see words like acquire, right? That's what you can use. Acquire, where is it? ACQUIRE, here we go. Acquire. So that's what we can use here. The knowledge that students have acquired in college doesn't always translate to the real world. Right. Next, people don't feel like eating out. Because of the rising gas price. People don't feel like eating out because of the rising gas price. I think the equivalent expression would be limit, right? Limit their desire. So what you can say here is the rising gas price limits people desire to eat out. All right, next. Reading helps people to become more creative. Reading helps people to become more creative. Well, how about this one? So I think the word is given here. To develop creativity. Somewhere here. Yep. Develop their creativity. So reading helps people to develop their creativity. Next, the internet is a powerful tool in that it can be used to study more about subjects. The internet is a powerful tool. Well, uh, study more. I think the word is explore, which is right here. Okay, explore. So we can rewrite it as the internet is a powerful tool in that it can be used to explore the subjects. All right, last one. Most parents think that it is based for their children to attend school. Most parents think that it is based for their children to attend school. So what we can use here is I think the word is from perspective. From the perspective, what we can use. Okay, so we can write it as from most parents' perspective. Right? It is best for their children to attend school. That's it. All right. So that's it. Now, before we move on to the next section, let's take a 10 minutes break, okay? And then we come back to discuss more about the lexical resources, yeah, like this course markers. Okay. See you guys in 10 minutes. Okay, we're back. Right. Okay. So on this page here, it's just a summary of the structure of 3 different essays. Okay. So for argument, you can see that it is divided into 3 sections. Introduction, that will include the statement of problem. Okay. Subject of debate, 2 different viewpoints, and most important of all, this is a statement. Okay? Body paragraph will have some topic sentence and supporting ideas. As for the conclusion, you will have to restate all the points, and we have to confirm our position, whether this is, and provide suggestions if necessary, of course. Right. Next, we have problems and solutions. Okay, so similarly, the introduction will contain a statement to describe the ongoing situation, right? Okay, and then we have a statement to raise the awareness and show how serious the problem is, followed by the thesis statement, which will give you the outline of the body paragraph. The final paragraph will restate all the problems and provide suggestions. As for advantages and disadvantages, the first paragraph will describe the situation. You can consider that the paraphrase of the question. And the next statement is this statement, okay? And this is, but this statement will function similarly to problem and solution, in that it will only give you the outline of the body paragraph. Okay, as for the body paragraph, you have the main idea, okay, that is stated by the topic sentence. And then you will have some supporting ideas and the conclusion. Right. Okay. If you wonder why there are so many D, all right, if you go back here, you will notice that, you know, you will see some letters like D3 here, D3, right? We have D3. If you go to the first essay, we have D1, D2, D4. Okay, so what are all these Ds about? Okay, what are they all about? So the D stand for discourse marker. You can consider that useful phrases. Okay, so we're going to be looking at some of the useful phrases that you can use to make transition between sentences a little bit more effective. So D1, these are the transitional phrases, okay, that you can use to introduce your reasons or subject of debate. For example, opinions are divided as to whether. Okay, you can use that early on in the introduction to talk about the subject of debate. Okay, then we have there are different reasons why, blah blah blah. Okay, so these expression can be used in perhaps a topic sentence when you want to talk about reasons why something happened. There are many positive and negative reasons why. Okay, you can also use that as well. Whether blah 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 is debated by many people. So this is just an alternative to the first expression. Opinions are divided as to whether. Okay, they can both be used to give subject of debate. Okay, and then we have whether blah 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 is still an ongoing debate. So it's just another variations of an expression to give the subject of debate. Okay? Next, D2. D2 is used to introduce concession. So when you are about to have two statements that contradict each other, Okay, so in between those two statements, you want to drop some of these expressions, okay, to indicate two opposite ideas or two opposite viewpoints. So we have but, whereas, while, however, nonetheless, although, even though, despite the fact that, but, and at the same time. Okay, so you can use them. D3 is to further the argument. So we have first of all, second, third, in addition, additionally, in addition, moreover. So you will see a lot of D3 being used in a body paragraph when we want to finish explaining one point, moving on to the next point. You will have this expression to begin your sentence with. D4 is to give an opinion. For example, in my opinion, as far as I am concerned, from my perspective, to my mind, from my view, I think it seems to me that. Okay, so you can use all this expression to introduce your opinions, okay? Which you can do so in introduction paragraph and again in the concluding paragraph. Next, D5. So D5 is to direct attention to a new subject. For example, as far as concerned, speaking of, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So when you want to like, so you have a topic sentence. And in your topic sentence, you want to talk about benefits on different, from different perspectives, environmental benefit, political benefit, and perhaps economic benefit. So when you're done talking about environmental benefit, you want to move on to the economic benefit. You can say, as far as economy is concerned. D6. Okay, you use this expression to mark the concluding paragraph. Okay, so you can use in conclusion, finally, in summary, and to sum up. Excuse me. So all of this can be used to mark the concluding paragraph. All right, that's it. So that's all for chapter 4. Moving on to chapter 5. So in chapter 5, we'll be looking at different stages to produce an essay. So most of the time, we will begin by analyzing the question. Okay, so this is a very crucial step. Okay, so you don't want to jump right into brainstorming unless you have developed a clear understanding of the question. So sorry. Okay. So let's read and questions. Yeah. From a recent study, it was found that students can learn from the internet as much as they would from college. The school is no longer the only choice of education. Do you agree? Okay, so we have a statement that seems to be in favor of online education. Okay, and it's trying to back up that we don't need to go to school anymore because it was found that students can learn from the internet as much as they can from college. Okay, so so you have to be able to distinguish between the actual claim and the supporting argument. Okay, so what is given to you is an argument. So what is argument again? It's a claim plus justification. So you need to identify the claim and the justification. Okay, So when you see some things like from a study, from a survey, it was found that. Now, this is meant to be a fact that is used to justify a claim. So the sentence that followed, it was found that is not considered a claim. Okay, so the claim is what? The claim is the last statement. The claim is a statement that says the school is no longer the only choice of education. That's your claim. Okay, so that means the given fact is students can learn from the internet as much as they would from college. Now that is the findings from a study. Okay, so you cannot disagree with that. I mean, you don't have to believe it, but this is not something that you want to respond to. Okay. Now, an opinion or speculation or suggestion. This is the second statement. Now, this is the statement that you have to evaluate. You have to respond to this, whether you agree or disagree. You do it with this statement. Okay. Right. And that's it. Okay, that's all you have to do. You have to be able to distinguish between the justification and the claim. So once you have done that, then you should be ready to move on to the next stage. The next stage is brainstorm. You have what? 3 minutes. And in 3 minutes, what you have to do is you have to come up with some reasons to back up both both sides of the arguments. Okay, so here's an example. Okay, so if you're actually in favor of the online education, then you want to come up with some benefits or advantages of online study. Okay. In this example here, they give you 3 benefits of online education. So first benefit is it can save time and money. Second, it allows students to study at their own pace. And third, online learning will encourage you to have self-discipline. Now, what about some of the ideas against this? Okay, so classrooms allows real-time class discussion. So that means this is something that is not possible with online education, right? Number 2, if you're in favor of a physical classroom, then learning experience could be more enjoyable in the class. Okay, of course, because when you go to a brick and mortar settings, in the physical classroom, you'll be able to interact with your friends, like in the online setting, where the only way you can interact with your friend is to send them some messages. Third, so if you're in favor of physical settings, then you probably believe that the qualification from college is more acceptable everywhere in the world, right? Okay, so in the second stage, you just want to come up with some ideas. Okay, you have to be a little bit unbiased here. So do not try to answer the question. All right, don't take a position. Yeah, you just try to come up with as many ideas as possible, and then you evaluate both sides of the argument to see which side will give you the most advantage in terms of the content or your ability to justify. Okay, for example, if you scan through all the positive aspects of online education, and you realize that every idea, although they sound good, but they cannot be, explained any further. You cannot extend each of these 3 ideas. So that means you should not take the position where these ideas have to be explained, right? So in other words, you don't want to agree with the given statement. Okay, instead you want to disagree. Why? Because if you explore all these three ideas on the other side, and you realize that all these three ideas can be extended. So that means if you disagree, you will have more to write. Okay? For example, be able to meet the minimum word requirement of 250 words. So that's the idea. You don't want to take a position before you have seen all the ideas that you can develop. Okay, so you only take a position once you see, how all the ideas will unfold. Okay, so don't take a position until you have seen how all your ideas can be unfolded. All right. Okay. Next, we're going to be looking at a strategy to brainstorm for problems and solutions. Okay. So let's have a look at the questions here. It says many cities have become less pleasant places to live in recent years. What do you think are the causes of this, and what solutions can you suggest? Right. Okay. So clearly, the questions want you to think about the causes that contribute to some cities being not very pleasant to live. So there have to be some problems, right? Okay, otherwise the city cannot be unpleasant to live. There must be some problems in those cities. So one possible problem is overpopulation. The next problem could be pollution, heavy traffic, civil war, and crime. So these are among the common problems that can exist in those cities. And to explain the problem, you have to think about the cause. Okay, what caused overpopulation, for example? What caused air pollution or water pollution? What caused heavy traffic? What caused civil war and crime? Okay? But the causes alone are not enough. You have to also think about the effects that each of the problems will have on the society. For example, if we have overpopulation due to high birth rate, then what will happen in the city? You might have competition for resources and shortage of food. What about pollution? What caused pollution? It could be discharge of poisonous chemicals, and the result of that is an increase in health risk. Heavy traffic. What caused heavy traffic? Could be social perception. Everyone needs to drive, to show off their wealth. What is the effect of heavy traffic? Well, heavy traffic can lead to pollution, can also lead to some stress. Right? Civil war. What caused civil war? It could be some unresolved dispute. Okay, and when we have civil war, we have shooting up in the heart of the city. Then it can create war weariness. Basically, people get tired. People become unproductive. They don't want to go to work. They feel depressed with their life. What about crime? Okay, so crime can stem from poverty. Okay, poverty breeds crime, and when we have crimes going on in our city, then everyone will feel insecure. They don't want to leave their home at night. for fear that they might get robbed on the street. Okay. All right. So once you have come up with all of the cause and effects to explain each problem, then you have to think about solutions. So you can think about a solution, a method to prevent this from happening, or a method to make this less disastrous, make it less harmful, like overpopulation. How would you prevent that from happening? Well, you might need to initiate birth control. What about pollution? How would you prevent that? Well, you need to impose a regulation. What about heavy traffic? How would you prevent that from happening? Then you can promote the use of public transportation. Civil war can be prevented by appealing to other nations for assistance. Crime can be prevented by increasing the number of law enforcement units. Okay, next we're looking at advantage and disadvantage. Okay, let's look at the question. In some countries, young people are encouraged to work or travel for a year between finishing high school and starting university studies. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages for young people who decide to do this. So some of the advantages are that they can gain work experience if they do that. Since they work, since they earn money by themselves, they're not asking their parents for money. They will learn to appreciate the value of money. And third, they should be able to improve their language. Of course, if they study, if they travel abroad, between a gap year. But this is not without some disadvantages. So the one disadvantage is that those who choose to work part-time, they might fall behind. Okay, because their friends remain in the countries, might be studying or preparing themselves for the college. The next disadvantage is that they may not be mature enough to handle problems on their own. Young people, they spend most of the time with the parents, and the parents are the ones who come to their rescue whenever they run into problems. So when they're on their own, it might be a little bit overwhelming for them to deal with their own problems. Next, it might cost their parents a lot of money. Well, of course, those kids, they travel abroad to work part-time, but the cost of the investment for them to gain some work experience can be enormous. Starting with the air ticket and also some pockets money, visa, and all the money that we have to be spent on all those warm clothing and everything, so that they can use in the when they're in the overseas country. All right. Okay, so after stage 2, so after brainstorming, you should have some ideas, and you should be clear with which side you want to take on the issue. Okay. Stage 3 is about deciding how you want to produce your argument. So if you have an argument essay, there are 2 approaches. You can either use argument-led approach, or you can use business-led approach. So what is the difference? So for argument-led approach, you literally will explain both sides of the argument, but you're going to put more emphasis on one side over the other. So suppose you agree with the point of view presented in the statement. The argument that you support would be A, B, and C, right? Okay, so you actually agree with the statement, and A, B, C are your bullets. They're like your weapons, okay? D, E, F, these are your enemies, okay? You want to overcome, you want to overpower D, E, F with your A, B, C. Okay. So what are the different organizations you could employ to do this? So what you can do is you can put A, you can start with A, which is the point that you support, okay? And then you try to acknowledge the counter argument by presenting B. But then you have to be able to revoke it, not revoke, you have to be able to refute it, okay, by presenting idea B, because B can refute D. So whatever D is, okay, B will cancel it. A doesn't have to be related to B, all right, but B and D, they have to relate to each other because B will cancel D, okay? What about this is led approach? So for this is led approach, it's different because you will scrap all those idea that you don't support altogether, right? You don't include them in your writing. Okay, so if you agree with a particular idea, A, B, C's are your main supports, you will completely ignore D, E, and F. All right. Okay, so your paragraph will look like this. You have an introduction, and then you begin with idea C, A, and B. But what is the order? Okay, I recommend that you arrange your ideas by the ascending order in terms of importance of your idea. So you begin with the least important idea, and then you progress to a more important idea, and the most important idea will be the last idea that you will discuss in your body paragraph. Okay. Now, for permanent student, this is quite straightforward. You will have two different paragraphs. One paragraph will focus on the cause and the effects, and the other paragraph will focus on the solutions. As for advantage and disadvantage, okay, the third statement will, like always, will introduce the problems, introduce the ongoing issue. The first paragraph will talk about the advantages, and the next paragraph will focus on the disadvantages. In the final paragraph, you just summarize everything. Okay, so after you have done that, the next stage, or stage 4, is to write from what you have planned. So if you have an argument essay, you want to begin with introduction. And this is a guideline of how you can write your introduction. The body paragraph, there's no guideline, but you can use some of the useful phrases on the last page of chapter 4. Okay. Conclusion, right? So all the D, right? D1, D2, D6, these can be found on the last page of chapter 3. Okay. From the solutions, pretty much the same. Okay. You can also look at the model answer just to get a sense of what you have to do. You can follow the model answer, use the model answers as your guideline. Okay, so after you have finished your writing and you still have time, you want to review or proofread your work. Okay, so when you are proofreading your work, you want to be focusing on the mistakes that you often make. Okay, now the mistakes that people make vary from one person to another. So you need to know the common mistakes that you are most likely to make. And when you proofread, you only focus on those mistakes. Okay, remember that you would not have enough time to rewrite everything. Okay, rewriting a sentence is not a good idea because it might affect the rest of the paragraph. and it will, you know, sort of make your writing not very clean because you will leave behind some of the residues. So only focus on the small mistakes that you often make. All right. Okay, next, we're going to be looking at how to write a body paragraph. So here is a simple body paragraph structures. We begin with a topic sentence. We can use expression like on the one hand to begin our paragraph, knowing that the following paragraph will be the opposite. Okay, like if the first paragraph will focus on the advantages, and the second paragraph will focus on the advantage. So the disadvantage you can have on the one hand. Okay, and the topic sentence of the next paragraph will have on the other hand. Okay, after the topic sentence, you will have argument 1, argument 2, and argument 3. And each argument need to be supported by some evidence and principles. Okay. So, how do we write a topic sentence? Okay, so first of all, let's try to understand what this sentence really is. So, topic sentence is the first sentence in a body paragraph. It contains the main topic of the essay and a controlling idea. For example, there are a number of advantages offered by online learning. So the main topic is online learning. And the idea controlling word is a number of advantages. So basically, to write a topic sentence is connecting, is joining main topic of the essay to idea controlling words. So I can actually say something like on advantages of online learning. This is what make up a topic sentence, right? But just by saying advantages of online learning, this is not yet a complete grammatical sentence. So I have to add a verb in it. And there's many ways to achieve this. You can follow, one way to do is to follow the example. So you can use there is and there are, okay? Like there are a number of advantages. So you make the idea controlling word the subject of the sentence. There are a number of advantages offered by online learning, okay? So that's one way to do it. But do you always need to write in sentence formats? Actually, no. You can use an adverb phrase as well. For example, you can say regarding a number of advantages offered by online learning. This way, you are not making a sentence. So you don't have to finish or end your sentence with a full stop. Instead, you will end your adverbs with a comma, right? Okay. What else can you do? You can make the main topic the subject, and you can put a verb in between the main topic and the controlling idea. You probably want to use a transitive verb for this reason. Like online learning has a number of advantages. This is another way to do it. Sorry. All right. Moving on to how to develop an argument. Okay, so argument is reasons or ideas that you came up with during the brainstorming process. For example, if you remember from our stage 2, okay, and we were brainstorming for the idea of using the internet to obtain education instead of going to a college. All right. And one benefit of online learning is that it allows students to study at their own pace. So how do we extend this idea? How do we explain this idea? Okay, so you need different types of support to extend this idea. Now, the types of supports are as follows. We can use reason, result, scenario, definition, example, and experience. So, for example, reason. Reason is reason provide information to answer the why question. So, for example, if you turn this argument one into a why question, like why or why does online learning allow students to study at their own pace? Sometimes you can also turn that into a how question, like how does online learning allow students to study at their own pace? The answer to this question will be your reason, right? So answer could be because they can take it easier by watching videos anytime and anywhere they want. So that's one way to do it. What about result? Result is used to is an information that provide you answer to the question, then what? So if you ask the question, okay, what will happen when students are allowed to study at their own pace? The answer could be that they would not feel too much stress for processing information, which would contribute to a better academic performance. That's what happened, right? Next, scenario. A scenario is an imaginary situation. It doesn't have to happen, but based on some sort of theory or principle, this can actually happen if something continues to exist, if a problem doesn't get resolved. So in this case here, if every student watch video instead of attending the lectures, they won't have to put too much effort to concentrate on the lectures, which often go very quickly. All right. Next is a definition. So the definition is the meaning that you assign to a word. It doesn't have to be based on dictionary. You can define your own words too, based on your experience or based on your observation. For example, the speed of learning can vary across individuals. Some people learn fast, but others are slow. Online learning creates an environment where people can have an equal opportunity to learn, regardless of how long it takes for them to digest information. Okay? All right. Next is example. So, what is example? Example is a real event that happens that you use to illuminate your abstract ideas. It doesn't have to be real event. You can make it up, but based on true story. So, for example, visual learners who are not capable of processing information from lectures as quickly as auditory learners can study lessons at a more relaxing atmosphere. Okay. Last is to use experience. So experience is like an anecdote, okay? So it's not very formal, okay? But it's sort of, when you use experience, you allow your readers to relate better to your topic. For example, to highlight this point, I used to be a former student who regularly attended lecture at school, but most of the time I needed to ask my friends to explain to me what was going on in the class. However, this problem no longer existed when I took an online course to study for my master degree. Right. Okay. So once you have um, created all the support, next is to decide on the combination. So you can combine reason and result together to form a stronger, a more clear support. Okay. Or you can combine reason, result, and example. This really depends on you. Okay. So here are some example of the of how you can create a combination. Like if you combine reason and result together, then your explanation will look like this, because they can take it easy by watching videos anytime and anywhere, which make them feel less stressed while processing information, resulting in a better academic performance. All right. As for definition and example, you can say the speed of learning can vary across individuals. Some people learn fast, but others are slow. Online learning creates an environment where anyone has an equal opportunity to receive quality education, regardless of their speed of digestion. Okay? All right. Okay, so um, I suppose you can do all look at these examples on your own. Okay. All right. It's pretty much the same. If you know how to develop topic sentence and develop argument for argument essay, um, problem solution and advantage disadvantage are quite straightforward. Right. Okay. Okay. So for our next class, we'll actually be writing an essay. Okay, I will walk you through each and every step of how to write an argument essay to answer this question. Okay, but this is for the next class. So for the next class, I encourage you guys to come, because I will be walking you through um, um, uh, all the steps to produce a good argument essay from the very beginning, from the stage of analysis, through brainstorming, through deciding the layout, to writing, all the way to proofreading. Okay, so please don't miss out. All right. Okay, so I think this is all for today. And I hope you guys learned something new, and see you guys next class. Thank you very much.